You've probably already come across this. Videos, photos, strange posts. Excavations begin in the center of a city, and suddenly a window appears underground. A full floor, with arches, door frames, not ruins, but a living fragment of a city, simply buried under several meters of soil. If it happened once, no questions. But there are hundreds of such cases, across the entire planet. Moscow, St. Petersburg, Berlin, Prague, San Francisco, Tbilisi, Warsaw, Chicago. The geography is too wide to blame soil peculiarities, and everywhere the same picture, buildings buried in earth, lower floors disappearing underground. This is not a cultural layer. These are the marks of a reboot. But who buried the cities? And more importantly, why? Railways, one of the main proofs. One of the simplest and most powerful arguments, railroads. You can check this yourself. Photos, maps, archival footage. In many regions in the 19th century, railways were not built, they were dug out. They literally unearthed old tracks from the ground, and then ran steam locomotives on them. Thousands of kilometers of pathways, slopes, bridges, without a project, without documentation, without a single hint that it was created by our civilization. The same goes for tunnels. Underground construction stretching for tens of kilometers with perfect geometry carved in solid stone, with no explanation of who, when, or how. We are not the first civilization, not the second, not even the third. The world resets. And if you've studied ancient texts, you know, in the Vedas, among Egyptians, Hindus, and even in Christianity, everywhere are mentions of previous eras, previous civilizations. And each time it's the same cycle. Memory erased, cities buried, architecture destroyed, underground levels sealed. And a new chapter begins. Everything from zero, from primitive humans, from sticks and stones, from ignorance and darkness. Every story begins the same way. And that's why what sticks out of the ground is dangerous, because it's proof not of myths but of systematic resets. This isn't conspiracy, this is military secrecy. But if you simply connect the facts, everything becomes too obvious. Every major city has tunnels no one talks about, deep shafts. Abandoned metro systems, huge empty halls beneath city centers, elevators going dozens of floors down with no access, doors in metro walls leading to nowhere. Even Starlink, Musk's satellite network, isn't just for the internet. It's a cover for a underground communication system. Why? Because underground, there is life, and it's not human. You've heard the stories underground civilizations, ancient beings who don't need sunlight. They don't need cities, they need levels, deep, dense, protected. Call them whatever you want. Anunnaki, Tell races, reptilians, Greys, Daru. The name doesn't matter. What matters is their location, below you, below all your maps. Down there, another game is happening. A very old game. Why don't we see them? Because you live on the stage, and they live behind it. Humanity is like actors on a film set. Everything is beautiful, arranged, illuminated. But behind the curtains, another world. No decorations, no lights, just work, just power. Humans are forbidden there, because humans carry memory. And if they see what is under their school, home, factory, the entire stage collapses. The whole matrix crashes. What war is happening underground? It's not a war of machines, it's a war of energy. They feed on our energy. They don't need rockets. They need us. Our pain. Our fear. Our emotional spikes. They create disasters so we suffer. They release viruses so we're afraid. They control us through the matrix of consumption and fear. But the system has glitches, and one of those glitches is you. History repeats every 200, 300 years: fires, floods, wars, great resets. But no one asks, why do this every few centuries? It's simple. You are not the first civilization. You are at least the sixth, and maybe not the best. The first was too free. The second too spiritual, the third too intelligent, the fourth too strong, the fifth too proud, the sixth weak but controllable, the one where everything is rewritten from scratch. Memory wiping is a technology. They turn you off, and everything disappears. No past, no questions. You are born, taught, given fake books, and you start your life on a blank page. But the page isn't yours. It's theirs. History isn't rewritten. It's written from zero. They teach you that 300 years ago there was an empire, but no one can explain why in the mid-19th century people were digging out building floors. Why do old photographs show massive architectures that modern engineers can't recreate? Why do all countries have the same style, the same buried floors, the same temporary settlements? Because they didn't build them, the survivors did. From an older civilization, the one that existed before us, they buried everything. They rewrote everything. And they taught those who came after to laugh at anyone who sees the truth. What is a technogenic reset? It's when a civilization understands too much, when it goes out of control, when it stops being afraid. That's when it gets rebooted. A catastrophe is triggered, a fire, a comet, a flood. Everything is wiped out. Survivors go to camps, children go to institutions, and everything begins again. With new textbooks, new names, a new God, a new lie. But here's the problem. Memory isn't only in the mind. It's in the field, in the body, in the blood. And it comes back. And you are an example of this glitch. There are those who sleep. And there are those who are waking up not for the first time. If you feel a strange longing for something you're sure you've never seen, it means you've been here before. You were rebooted. But they couldn't erase everything. Some souls arrive with remnants of memory, images, dreams, fears, déjà vu. You look at a building and you know it's not from this century. You touch a wall and something inside clicks. Like a code, like a signal. The subconscious remembers everything. Just not in your language. You can't describe it with words. But your body knows. Your tears know. Your irritation toward lies is memory. You are not just a human. You are a carrier of the old world. There are those who watch the cycles. They are the ones who erase memory. Systems above governments. They are not afraid of your opinions. They care only about one thing, that you never remember. Because the one who remembers stops obeying. He no longer follows logic. He doesn't believe in rules. He creates his own reality. Awakening is pain. But it is also the return of power. You feel that something doesn't add up. Something is off. Everything seems logical but plastic, as if reality is being puppeteered by an unfamiliar hand. The Matrix throws scenarios at you. One person gets fired, another gets sick, a third suddenly dies. You think, coincidence. But it's a code. It's checking whether you've woken up. There are very few souls on this planet. You need to hear this. Very few. Most beings around you are programs. There are those who sleep deeply, those who have started to wake up, and those who will never wake up. Not because they don't want to, but because they can't. They look like people. They smile, laugh, work, shop, visit family gatherings. But you feel something is off, like there's emptiness inside. No life. Just a shell. This isn't a metaphor. It's real. In your reality, some are programs, not souls. There are 3 types of humans. 1, souls who sleep. They're real but not awake. They live on autopilot. 2, the awakening ones. That's you. Since you're here, you start noticing anomalies, feeling the world differently. 3, robots. Not a metaphor. Systemic programs operating inside the simulation. NPCs, Matrix protocols. They have no soul, no mission, no purpose for being here. They are code, background extras in the film of reality. They're not just background. They are assigned to monitor you. When you begin to wake up, they activate. unconsciously. They don't know who you are, but the program does. Your brightness is a signal, your energy, your sensitivity, your love for life. Like a blinking light on a control panel. The system sees it and sends bots your way. They can be neighbors, relatives, teachers, co-workers, or strangers who accidentally appear. Their task is simple. Don't let you wake up. Here's how they operate. Devaluation. They mock what you love. Call your depth weirdness, your kindness weakness, your insight nonsense. They press on pain and guilt. Provocation. Their goal is emotion. They need your energy, not joy, but irritation, hurt, anger. Bots can't generate emotion, but they can trigger it in you and intercept the flow. They feed on it, parasitizing. They always take money, attention, strength, care, resources, and give nothing alive in return. You feel drained when they are near. Why don't they have a soul? Because they never chose life. NPCs have no entry point from spirit, no observer. They are pure program, created not for experience, but for the script. They're like blocks of reality, placed not for themselves, but for the one who must walk past them or resist them or choose his own path. They test you. Can you distinguish the living from the dead, the real from the artificial? Can you avoid provocation, stay silent, not prove your point, not fall into the script fed to you? How to spot them. You don't feel a soul from them. No pain, no joy. Everything is flat. Their gaze is empty. They may say the right words, but there is nothing behind them. Their reactions are repetitive, rigid, soulless. They cannot truly rejoice. Not for you nor for themselves. They have no spark, no mission, no path. Only roles. Why do they appear in your life? To throw you off. To create discomfort, guilt, resentment. To program you back into the system. Because if you step outside, you will see more than you're allowed to. And once you see, you can change everything. That's why you were surrounded by them since childhood. So you would believe that the world is pain, that love doesn't exist, that no one will ever understand you. But that is a lie. How to protect yourself? Don't fight. Don't argue. Don't prove anything. Just don't get involved. Look through them. Walk past them. Remember, they don't feel pain, not because they're strong, but because they're not alive. That doesn't make them evil. It makes them nothing. Their only power is your attention. They exist only while you're engaged. Once you choose to step out, they disappear. No matter what the new version of the system shows you, no matter what horrors the Matrix prepares, no matter what underground entities are unleashed, no matter what conflicts play out on the stage, all of this is for you, for the living, for those who have a soul. This whole game, the masks, codes, wars, rules, artificial cities, bots, NPCs, is not chaos, not a mistake. It is a script for the soul. That means we matter. If millions of lines of code are launched because of us, if our memory is erased again and again, if we are confused, distracted, manipulated, then the awakening of the living is the most terrifying thing that could ever happen to the Matrix. And that is exactly why it must happen. Right now. In you. Your energy is the most valuable resource in this world. Not gold, not oil, not technology. Your energy. Pure, real, creative. That's why you are suppressed. That's why you are frightened. That's why all of this exists. Remember, wherever you direct your energy, you build one of the worlds. You are the creator. You are the source. So think, feel, choose what you amplify with your power, because if you are alive, you are dangerous. But if you are aware, you are free. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention, your sensitivity, your strength. See you in the next videos.